Hello everybody and welcome to CFC Fan TV. Now before we start this video, please do us a favour and click the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up if you like it at the end. Me and Rory are having a bit of a discussion today. Something got my blood boiling a little bit today. And it was...
Not happy?
No, it wasn't. It was an article that the Metro wrote. Apparently Paul Merson, is that how you say his name? Paul Merson? Is
the most normal name in the world.
Merson or Merson? I don't know, whatever. He's come out and said, the sort of the title of this is Paul Merson gives Chelsea a reality check, and that he absolutely does not think that we can win the league with our current back four. Although there are many points that I agree with, and we've had discussions about whether it should be David Luiz or Christensen in the side. We've said that Dave has not really looked as stable as what he did in a back three. But I think he's discrediting the fact that although this is true, we've managed to get 4 wins out of 4. We've managed to get wins out of games that we probably would have done last season. So I'm just a little bit confused as to why he's writing us off already.
Yeah, look, I don't really take what Paul Merson says too seriously. I thought he was a tremendous football player and has scored some of the best chips you'll ever see. If you ever got a couple of minutes to kill on the internet, put Paul Merson chips into YouTube and you'll have a great time. He was a phenomenal player for Arsenal, and was part of their team that went on to become one of the best teams that we'd ever seen. You know, he was a great player for England as well. But I think he's got this one wrong. I think writing off Chelsea's title chances now is lunacy. We're one of the only, there's 3 teams in the league that have played 4-1-4. We're one of them. We've beaten Arsenal this season. We're looking very good. We're keeping clean sheets. I don't quite see what he's basing it on.
Yeah, and if you actually look at, I look at Man City and I think they've got some of the best defenders in the world. I think they've got one of the best teams in the world. They've already dropped 2 points. So
yeah, City have dropped points, and also I think what's more important, as much as I value Merson's opinion and rated him as a player, I think Paul Merson saying Chelsea can't win it, and Eden Hazard, who's currently a contender for Ballon d'Or in my eyes.
So Merson said he's been more critical of Luiz and Alonso, but I would say, if anything, the only improvement that could be made would be in our goalkeeper, because I think Newcastle away probably should have saved that goal.
I said something along those lines, and it wasn't popular on this channel one bit.
Well, what did you say?
I can completely concede. I completely concede that David Luiz was at fault for the goal against Newcastle, but I also suggested that maybe the keeper should have got there, and people went crazy. But I think that the keeper could have done better there, and I also think he could have done better with Mkhitaryan's. But he's new. He's in a new league. He's got a lot of pressure. He's got big shoes to fill. We have to be patient. It's a very difficult position to play the keeper. We saw what Alisson did at Liverpool the other day, so we know how hard it is. I believe he'll come good, and I think that we can launch a serious and sustained bid for that title. Yeah,
and I think actually by the time we do come to play our rivals in the top 4, that he would have had a bit more experience, and I think our back line will be a lot more solid, so a lot of the pressure will be taken off him anyway.
So whose opinion are you going to value?
Yeah, I'm not saying I hate Paul Merson. Sorry if you're watching. I'm sure he'll love this video.
Opinion.
I just don't like this opinion. I think it's come far too early on in the season for you to, and also with that. I 100%. If had we lost against Arsenal 4-0. I'd maybe see his point a little bit.
Yeah, but I agree. I don't quite know what he's basing it on. I don't know what he's seen in this current Chelsea setup that means he can write us off. I think he must have looked at our performances and looked at our back line and thought that we're going to concede too many goals. I know that he gave David Luiz a bit of a hard time, but I also think that there's a lot to be positive about, and the fact that he's looked at Chelsea's 4 games so far and has said they can't win the league, rather than looking at the 4 games so far and saying, tell you what, they're an impressive unit and they're only going to get better, and they've got a new manager and it's all going to click, and hopefully Alvaro Morata will start scoring and it'll all change. I don't understand why he's looking at it from such a negative point of view.
But what's even more wild for me is the fact that if he said this last season, when we're still playing the same style of football, like you said, under Conte and Mourinho, and we were struggling, then that's a bit different. But the fact that Sarri's come in, we're playing a completely different formation, a completely different style of football. We have changed our back line, and we've still managed to get 12 points. It's only going to get better from there on. So what happens? What does he think is going to happen when the system actually does come into full effect, and we are working on any errors we have made? It's not going to go backwards.
Yeah. Well, look, I completely agree, and I think that the way that our fixtures are shaping up, we could well get to the stage where we will have won 5 on the spin, and at that point, does Paul Merson say, actually, we have to take Chelsea seriously when talking about the title? Say we get to the Liverpool game, say we beat Liverpool, and I rate Liverpool. I think they're an excellent side, and I think Klopp is doing an incredible job there. But let's say that we beat Liverpool. At that point, does Paul Merson say, hands up, I got it wrong? Or does he still think that we can't win the league? I don't quite know. I don't know what he's basing it on. Is he basing it on squad depth? Whereas I would counter that and say that I think we have an excellent bench. I think the fact that we have a player of Olivier Giroud's quality not starting is huge. I think the fact that we have a player of Pedro's quality who didn't start the other day is huge. I don't quite know what he's basing this hostility or sort of disbelief in Chelsea's title credentials on.
Yeah, and I think if you, aside from our back line, we've probably made some of the most influential signings this season. I would say that Kovacic is definitely one of those. I think which is crazy. And I think actually Jorginho, like we've longed for somebody to be next to Kante that can actually take the pressure off of Kante and create our midfield and make our midfield better. We now have that for the first time in a few years. So
I agree.
I definitely think a lot of this is coming from our back line.
So Merson's opinions aside, do you think we can win the league?
Yeah, the question is, can we win the league? I'm starting to believe it a little bit more. I thought I predicted at the start of the season we'd finish third. I still think Liverpool are a team to beat. I know you think it's City. But I can only see Sarri's system getting better. If we started off a little bit shaky, then of course I would be saying no, because I think there's not going to be enough time to turn it around. But the fact that we've already played some of our hardest fixtures against Arsenal and Newcastle, we wouldn't really win those. We wouldn't have got 3 points in those games last season. I think it can only get better. I don't see how. I think we're going to definitely face tougher opponents, and I don't expect the games against Liverpool and City to be easy, if that's what he implies. But I definitely think, from what you fans say in the fan cams, that we do have a chance of winning the league now. And the fact that actually when we get back from the international break, we're going to be playing a couple more games, but we can rotate the squad a little more. That'll give them more game time. So I do think we've got. I'm not going to say we can, but I'm definitely not going to write us off and say we can't win it.
Yeah, I think that's the point, isn't it? That's the point. The point isn't whether we can win, whether we will win the league or not. The point is coming out and writing a column in a national newspaper saying you can't. Like, I just don't quite see what he's basing that on. I think writing teams off is such a dangerous thing to do.
Let's say he thinks our back line is shaky. It's not like we don't have other options that we can bring on. We do have Christensen, we do have Emerson, and they're all players that Chelsea fans would like to see feature at some point. And if they are going to get game time in the Europa League and the League Cups, things like that, then of course we've got good options to bring on in the Premier League if we have players that get injured. We've been lucky so far.
I agree. I think it's madness from Merson. I rate him. I thought he's a fantastic player. I quite like him. I think he's quite funny.
We don't hate you.
But you got this one wrong, Paul. You got this one so wrong. Of course Chelsea can win the league. If you spoke to a Manchester City fan, if you spoke to a Liverpool fan, and you spoke to a Tottenham fan, and you said, who are you worried about? If you don't win the league, who are you worried about winning it? Every single fan would say Chelsea.
Yeah, and I'm actually quite confused as to how, if he's saying, he doesn't see how Chelsea can win the league, why is he not a little bit discrediting Man City slightly?
Also, weird timing as well. Watford have just beaten Tottenham, and he hasn't come out and said Tottenham can't win the league.
Yeah, well, it's a little bit bizarre. Comment below, do you think that we can win the league? I personally think we've got a very good chance. I just think we're going to need the crucial bit for me is I'm not too worried about playing the lesser teams now. I think we've actually got that covered. I think Sarri's got that down to a T. But I do think when we play Liverpool, City, and I hate to say it, Tottenham, because we haven't had the best record away from home there in quite a few years now.
We demand an apology. If we get to Christmas and we're still in the running, Paul, we want an apology.
We definitely want an apology from you, because I am starting to think, and I think, do you think Sarri's thinking? Do you think Sarri's come in and thought I can win the league this season, or do you think Sarri's come in this season and thought, no, you know what? I think
no, 100% so. Every single player, every single member of Sarri's team, and Maurizio Sarri himself, will be looking at the Premier League title and dreaming about lifting it. If they're not, and they are, by the way, but if they're not in the right job.
Yeah, but you can't say. Yeah, but you can't say before the start of the season. Before the start of the season, I would have said this is going to be a bit of a rocky season for us.
I would as well, but I've seen enough to believe that we are in the running. Keep your fingers crossed, because I think it could happen.
Okay, guys. Well, like I said, comment below. Let us know your thoughts. Who do you side with? Do you side with me and Rory, or do you side with Paul? Because we definitely don't. And actually, do us a favour. If you don't think we're going to win the league this season, where do you think we'll finish? Where do you think our potential place will be? And of course, if you like this video, please click the subscribe button.